do into everything else when it involves money.
Sure.
But we don't look at.
I think because they've been also told that.
That's good.
Told
That's good.
or
That's
lied
good.
to in a sense that all it takes is love.
So both of y'all are right. Both of y'all are right. Both of y'all are right.
You told me something ill too.
What?
We're gonna get into it.
Okay.
I need you to make your point.
Stick a pin in that. Come back to it because I want to know. I want to know what I said.
But you talking about love one time, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, because I be talking about love. That's my shit. Anyway, so what you're saying is the exact mindset that I had when I stumbled upon this idea of having short-term marriage contracts, because I was like, well, in every other area of our lives, we move with a clarity and an intention, and we set goals and we have milestones. You know, that's how we do it. If I want to get from where I am to where I want to go, I got to map my path.
Yeah.
That's right. If I'm getting in the car, I'm put the address in the GPS, whatever it is, I got to map my path to where I want to end up. And we don't tend to do that in relationships, partly because it requires the other passengers to cooperate in ways that they don't often want to. And so we become frustrated and we do all the things. So the point that you're making about how intentional we get to be is how I arrived at the idea of short-term marriage contracts. But if you remember, I said, I'm also going to lay it to rest here in this conversation today.
Right. Yeah.
And that is because my thinking has evolved beyond the understanding of the world.
Okay.
And how we move through the world in relationships, because that formula makes sense. And I'm not saying that it's null and void. I'm saying the approach that I am considering in these days and this season of my life is different, and it's informed by a different perspective. And so the world perspective is we do everything with a plan. So if you don't have you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? You've heard this. So why can't we apply that to relationships? Well, the answer is because everybody has divine will. Everybody has their own free will. Right. And so I can make all the things and set it up and do it. And women do this all the time. I'm going to call this out because I'm doing the things I'm showing. I'm wifey material, not that I'm doing, but he ain't doing this. And so we think that because I'm doing all the performances that I think I'm supposed to do to be the material, if you not picking me, the path is either something's wrong with me. Why am I not being worthy of being chosen? Is the path that some women go down when they doing all the performance to show and prove. And the dude don't bite is either, well, something must be wrong with me. I'm not worthy of being chosen. Is one path. The other path is, well, he just don't know. He got he just missing out. He don't know what. And it becomes, instead of, you don't have to perform your idea of what you think it means to be wife material. You have to be the truth of who God says you are and let the person who needs what you have come find you.
Because now you believe in somebody else's idea of what you're supposed to do.
Because then what you bring is going to meet him. If we're talking about the rib being removed and we're going to that, now what you bring as the truth of who you are is going to meet him where he is. He's going to see that, recognize that, value that, and then want to hold on to that. And then he's going to choose you not because you're performing some wifely duty, but because he sees the divinity in the truth of who you are, which is who God says you are, which is why it says we're supposed to bury ourselves in the word of God. Because that's going to let you see the truth of who you are. And when you live from that place, they're going to find you.
Yo, Joy, first of all, you got to chill.
Okay.
You don't got to chill. No, you don't.
There's so many bars. It's so many bars.
Because it's like so many bars. I'm going to rewatch this shit because...
But what I just heard...
I don't
either.
But what I also just heard...
It's so bomb because you got to be the image... Your blessing may miss you.
Look, because you acting like you something else.
The blessing don't even recognize you. Like,
that's thinking what you got to do.
This blessing
what's funny is when you're being performative, male and female, right? When you're being performative, you've essentially it's almost like when the camera says action.
Correct.
Or when the director says action. Then you put on this idea of marriage.
Yep.
Or idea of a husband or a wife.
And that's what brings you into my office.
But,
that right there. Go ahead. That's exactly what it is.
And I know where we're going. No, and I know where we're going. What?
That's exactly what brings you into my office.
You put on this idea of a husband or idea of a wife. And then first of all, you're acting, a lot of times you're acting without any real thought about what this role is or about what this means to you. Right. And when it doesn't work the way it works, you blame the the infrastructure of what marriage is, the idea, the structure, the foundation.
Instead of how you showed up to it.
Which is the problem.
Which is the problem.
Which is the problem. And it makes me, so it goes into the conversation of this whole entire conversation happened because our very first podcast we did together, I brought you up in that first podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said I was, before I asked my wife's hand in marriage, me and Joy was on a bike ride.
I remember this day.
Remember I said me and Joy was on a bike. I'll never forget that.
I won't either. That
me
was
and
a good
Joy
day.
was on a bike ride.
Yeah.
And Joy broke down something to me that I never thought about. She said, what is your idea of marriage?
Yep.
Like, see, people have this preconceived notion of what they think marriage is.
Yep.
And then when you ask them, it's like, oh, that means two people go to the church and then white dress and then I love him,
That's
she loves me.
a wedding.
That's a wedding. You describing a wedding.
Yeah, it's a wedding.
And
but
when
what
Joy
is
broke
a
that down, what does it
marriage?
mean?